What is going on, everybody? It is your boy, the Cho, Corey Ryan Forster. As you know, wellREDcomedy.com, WELLRED comedy.com. That is where you can find out where we're going to be on the remainder of our 2019 tour, and we've only got a couple dates. Let me check out here. Next weekend, I think that's next weekend, November 22nd and the 23rd, whatever that is. We're going to be in Denver at the Oriental Theater, and then last date of the year, December 19th through the 22nd at the best comedy club in the country, Zany's in Nashville, doing our special homecoming Christmas shows. So get tickets at wellREDcomedy.com. Also sign up for our newsletter so you will be the first to know where we're going to be on our 2020 tour. We're starting to book dates for that right now. I can't give any of that away, but we are signing some contracts, signing some contracts, making some deals. We're going to get back out to you guys in 2020. In the interim, we have a bunch of cool things going on. Obviously, we're going to still be dropping the podcast every Wednesday. You can also check out the brand new podcast from wellRED alum Drew Morgan and good buddy DJ Lewis. It's called Into the Biscuit. You can find that wherever you find your podcast. It's on iTunes. I believe it's on Stitcher or Libsyn. That's Into the Biscuit. Also, Trey just started a new series with Attention Media that's going to be on Facebook Watch. It is called Southing Off with Trey Crowder. The first episode premiered, if you're listening to this on Wednesday, it was today. Yeah, it was today, Tuesday. So check that out. Also, another cool thing that our friends John, Lori, Michael, and Tyler have done. This is really insane. Over on Facebook, it's a closed group, but it's called wellRED Nation, WELLRED Nation, and they started this like a month ago, and it's already got like 1,000 members, and it's basically it's kind of a group for, you know, us like-minded folk, people that like the wellRED podcast, people that like the wellRED tour. You can go in there, blast off with some people from the South that think like you do, and share memes, and we also share our podcasts on there, and we share dates, and they're really great about keeping it updated, and man, it's a humbling thing. I looked over, they told me they were starting it, and I was like, oh yeah, nobody gives a fuck about that, but you know, good luck to you. And then within a month, they had 1,000 members on there, so that's super cool. So go to wellRED Nation. It is a closed group because we're an exclusive bunch, but you can you just answer some questions, like, you know, the questions might be like, which member of the group is your favorite? And obviously the answer is the Cho. And then they'll put you right in. This week on the podcast is wellRED podcast fan favorite, the number one fan favorite, the most requested motherfucker. Matter of fact, we might have had him on too many times this goddamn year. You're getting spoiled because when this guy's on the podcast, we don't even have to do shit. You know him, you love him. Skinny Bumpkin, a.k.a. DJ Lewis, a.k.a. DJ Lewis, a.k.a. Boots, a.k.a. Okra, whatever he is, all them things. So enjoy the oh, shit, look at me. I'm not even going to throw it out to our sponsors. This portion of the podcast, as always, you know, brought to you by SmokeyBoysGrilling.com. Go to SmokeyBoysGrilling.com and get all the rubs for all your meats. Also, CarveVodka.com. Go to CarveVodka.com and check out what Jacksonville is all just fucking talking about the number one and only craft vodka distillery in Jacksonville. Now doing whiskey, live oak whiskey. I just got my monthly batch in the mail. My buddy Paul Gray sent it to me, so I'm about to have me a drink because I'm still a little, I don't know about you guys, but hear me breathing, don't hit, I'm not hitting. I don't know if y'all are still got the winter bug, but I'm not sick, but like I can't shake it's the bullshit in my throat. So we'll hopefully have a couple hottie toddies and get all that taken care of before we're in Denver. Like I said, go to wellREDcomedy.com, sign up for the newsletter, grab some of our merch. You can grab our book. What's our book called? Oh, The Liberal Redneck Manifesto, Dragon Dixie. I'm sorry, I haven't slept. I was up all night writing some stupid shit. I can't even talk right now. Our book is called The Liberal Redneck Manifesto, Dragon Dixie Out of the Dark. You can also get our album. It is wellRED. Live from Lexington. We've also got t-shirts and we got hats and we got all sorts of cool stuff, so check that out. But now, without further ado, here is the podcast with DJ Lewis, live from the studio in Burbank.
They're the liberal rednecks. They like cornbread and butt sex. They care way too much but don't give a fuck. They're the liberal rednecks that makes some people upset, but they got 3 big old dicks that you can suck.
You want mine? I'm not gonna use them.
Keep talking.
Check, mic check,
okay.
2 1
Yeah.
2.
Thank you.
Check, DJ
Yeah,
and Drew.
It's
Good on the 1s and 2. Yeah, for you.
I like the cans. You don't like the cans?
Nah, man, it makes my ears hot.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't know. I don't even really know why, but I just want to justify ripping someone's head off.
What now?
That's a
Give
Limp
me-
Biscuit lyric.
yeah.
Like, I was getting
something to break.
all I was doing was I was just going to say I don't really know why I like wearing these. I just do. But when the words came out, I don't really know why. I immediately in my white trash brain, I just finished that lyric.
Hit
so.
for me supreme.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you. I was not saying it, and it came out like a blessing.
Yeah.
Like a little bit, like a little sparrow.
Hey, look who it is, y'all.
You, baby.
DJ Lewis.
DJ.
Gutter Bumpkin. DJ Lewis.
Yeah.
We've talked about already, right? Or I know we have off mic at least, but also on here. We told you about there's at least one fan of ours who this whole time thought that you were a DJ whose name is Lewis or whatever, like disc jockey Lewis.
Right. He is.
To clear that up, I mean, right.
No,
I mean, I get that, but his
our
name is DJ Lewis, just so everybody knows.
He's
But
Hollerville's #1 morning, noon, and night DJ.
Yeah, DJ Lewis. No, for some time, man, it's been a thing for where like sometimes I'll get like some dude out of Germany or something like that, and he's just like into the scene or whatever, and thinks that I'm a DJ,
Yes.
and like
I was telling Corey and Drew, I think about that. Remember me, you, and Tushar ate at that Mexican place in L.A. the time I came out here to visit. you the
yes,
first time
I
met
remember
Tushar?
that.
And you said to Tushar, like, you didn't even put it that way. You didn't even explain, like, they think I'm a DJ. You just were like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I meet a lot of Germans where I've been hanging out lately. It's like, as soon as I tell my names, like, I don't know, they just fucking love me. Germans love me. And as soon as you said that, Tushar just fucking died. He was like, he's like, they're just like fucking, oh, DJ.
Hey,
Yeah, DJ.
Yeah.
Speaking of Tushar, by the time
at the end of that there for some reason, DJ man.
by the time
DJ
this
man.
episode comes out, Tushar will have been our last episode's guest. Correct? According to what Corey just said.
We're absent the Cho again because he's en route to Iowa because that's how his life works. But and he is the Lord of the podcast. So
He
I
just
don't
said that.
really know.
He just said that.
Oh, okay, all right.
So I
yeah.
think by the
I don't
time
have
they've
the
heard
answer,
this,
but-
they will know who Tushar is. So you guys can imagine it.
Yeah, y'all are in for a treat. Tushar hasn't been on.
I know it's weird, right? It is weird because he's done plenty of shows with us. He's been with us on the road multiple times, but it's just never worked out that when he was there, we also were recording that week or something. Because
Well,
no, he's never been on it. I was
That's
about to-
crazy. Y'all are in for the listeners are in for a real mighty fine time.
A mighty fine time.
Mighty fine time. That's
So-
that's awesome.
I guess we'll talk about why DJ's in LA a little bit. If you don't know, then
Yeah,
you
I'd
don't
like to
follow
know
us
that too.
on
God
social
damn it.
media.
One of my best friends didn't even know he was
Hey,
here.
No, I figured
told
you
him.
I
did.
told him.
I texted him.
I told him
No,
like
he
3
didn't.
times.
No, he
Yes,
didn't.
I did.
No, he didn't.
Yes, I
No, he
did.
didn't.
And I told you why he was here.
I texted DJ and I was like, we fucking treat me like I'm your goddamn mama or something. Like, well, I'm coming into town, but I know if Trey finds out that I'm there, he's just going to want to cook me dinner. And it's not that I don't appreciate it. It's just I got a lot of stuff going on, and I think it'd just be easier for all of us if he just didn't even know that I was here. That's what was going on because he didn't tell me. I didn't know. I'm a little hurt by it.
I absolutely the very I figured that what I think is that like you would already know and there were already plans and I was just
No,
I
know.
He just expects everybody to make his
know,
plans for
right.
him.
I do. That's pretty much yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I honestly that's not like me to just completely miss something like that, but I believe that I might have.
Yep.
DJ is out here to do more episodes of Into the Biscuit and to shore up the first 2 or 3 episodes, our new podcast. If you don't follow us on social media, but you listen to this podcast, Corey just dropped our pilot into the wellRED feed. So you can hear our first episode on the wellRED feed, but please subscribe to Into the Biscuit. Anyway, that's what he's doing out here. We talked about that, admittedly, briefly when we generally discussed this. We got 3 weeks off and then another 3 weeks off, Trey.
We have some time coming up, off the road coming up.
That's what I mean.
But I ended up, I will once again be out of town on
Me
my
too.
own. But yeah, I thought you were also leaving this weekend.
I leave Friday, he leaves Thursday.
I leave Saturday.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, generally speaking, we have a lot of time off of the road in the coming weeks.
Are
There's
you
only
guys looking
2 more
forward?
tour weekends this year. Denver, the weekend, I think, before Thanksgiving, or somewhere in the middle of November, the weekend in the middle of November, the 22nd and 23rd at Denver, and then the weekend right before Christmas,
Nashville.
A very well-run Christmas at Zany's in Nashville. Going to be a big, good old time.
Dude,
Big,
I don't
big
have
old time.
I don't have Space Booty until the weekend after that. So
What?
So so me and Dre are definitely fucking coming. I'm stoked. This will be the first year.
We're going to have to find something for you
Wait
to
a
do,
minute.
baby.
What?
No,
Yeah.
no,
You're
no,
on
man.
the show.
Well,
DJ's like, fuck you. I don't want to work.
I mean,
No,
yeah.
I do want to work. Of course I do. But no. I just
It's
really
a
wanna
well-read
come
Christmas
get
extravaganza variety
But-
show with
I'm so excited.
song, dance, comedy, and apparently
I've heard.
the Gutter Bumpkin.
Yeah, baby. Having a
Hell
merry
yeah.
old.
But hold on. But why did we're all over the place, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's DJ's here, baby. But why did you bring that up?
Right, I bring what up?
All this time we had.
Oh,
you
I was
talking
saying
about
when
something.
I was telling you that we were discussing that in general when I told you DJ was coming out here.
Oh, okay. Right.
That was among the things that I was planning on that I had going on during that downtime. We are trying to get through enough episodes to have an entire first season. I think how we're going to do Into the Abyss is we're going to do it for like 6 months and take 6 months off and come back because it's a very, very produced situation, and I think you guys are going to love it. A lot of the feedback so far has been, this is rad, I have no idea what the fuck it is, and
Why am I
that
crying?
is perfect.
Yeah, there's been a lot
Yeah,
of
a
people crying.
lot of farting too.
Yeah, there's been a lot of farting.
But
I'm surprised how many people have already gotten it because it's
I'm
such
not.
a weird. I know you
DJ
keep
keeps
saying,
waffling back and forth between being like, "This is the coolest thing ever," and then being like, "I don't even know. But how's anybody going to understand this or
Because
whatever?"
I've never known him to give a fuck about that.
Right, exactly.
What has happened to this guy?
To be fair to DJ,
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
had a hard time explaining the idea that I had to anybody, and he was the one person where I was like, "He don't need to get it. He can still be on board."
That's exactly right. And that's generally how I feel.
Do you get it now?
Yeah, I absolutely get it. Now.
Yeah.
I figured I would. I figured it'd flesh out once I.
Right.
You know, I'm not much of a reader or a learner.
Let me tell you what him and
know
Andy
I mean?
did.
I had to get in there.
Bullshit.
I need to get
Maybe
in there.
reader, I don't know, but
No.
learner for sure I know is not
Well,
true.
yeah, I guess that's
you
what
just
they-
mostly focus
Ooh,
on
who farted?
wild ass.
That was
You
you.
keep saying that,
You
but
keep
ain't
farting.
nobody been farting.
Then smells are just coming out your feet.
I don't doubt that a bit.
Feet
went to
farting, motherfucker.
Yeah, dude, hey man, we went to a
Over here,
goddamn
feet farting.
feet farting.
Feet fart. That's DJ Lewis' number 1 hit.
Yeah.
DJ Lewis.
Yeah.
Feet farting. Feet fart. Feet.
What?
All right, let me tell you what him and Andy did. This is the perfect way to describe this podcast. We might have smoked legal substances in this
Legal.
state, and they were talking about it. And Andy had been listening to us make a few episodes and mix some of the episodes because we put like a lot of different segments in there. It's essentially a parody of a morning radio show.
Right.
We run the middle parts like a podcast. We're just having a conversation about dark things because that's the theme, whether it be suicide, heartbreak, failure, whatever. Those are some of the lighthearted topics we've covered so far. And then we have fake commercials and fake segments the way a radio show would. And DJ was like, man, it's like if Prairie Home Companion was like on drugs in the trailer. And Andy was like, yeah, like if Prairie Home Companion. And I was like, I told both of y'all that 4 fucking times. And y'all just looked at me like I was an idiot.
But when you tell somebody that, they're like, all right, you know? It's
Well,
like,
you know, like
You know what it is? They're both so used to me just being ridiculous and full of shit. They both just went, all right, without actually listening to me, which is fair. Totally
have
fair.
you ever heard me
Yeah.
describe one of my ideas?
No, I don't listen to you.
it's a version. Of, right.
That's what I'm saying.
that happened-
Friends don't actually listen to each other
No,
because you get to the point where you're like, you're fine. It's fine. I trust you. Whatever.
We ain't got to turn this into this. I'll mostly make it about my wife because that's easier. She's not here to defend herself. But not that she would anyway. She would totally agree with this. But yeah, dude, that happens to me all the time.
Yes.
Both with you and Corey, but
Right.
also with Katie all the time because she don't ever. She hears my mouth moving and
Right.
she immediately knows like, well, this ain't worth shit. I don't need to listen to none of this.
Exactly.
This is going to be completely without value.
Exactly.
So she just tunes it all out,
Yeah.
and then later she'll say a thing, and I'm like, Katie, I've fucking been telling you
Right.
after 3 days.
Right.
Yeah.
And she just,
Right,
you know,
and
whatever.
they were trying to convince me too. That was what I mean. We
Oh,
were
that's the
high,
worst.
and it was so
Yeah.
funny. But they were like, "No, Drew,
Dude,
you don't get it." I'm like,
that
"Yes, I do get it."
that part of it drives me up the fucking wall. Nothing drives me more insane than that when it gets flipped around on you like that. It's like I'm the one who said, you know. Anyway, whatever.
But do you have the habit of like? Because everyone here has a lot of ideas bouncing around in their brain, especially with your old lady. You're like bouncing them off her all the time. So like, and your friends too. Like you're bouncing them off her all the time. So like, which one are they thinking that you're really gonna, flesh out, and which one is just you talking about?
With Katie, none of them.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
just absolutely. It's
She's
just like
like
not,
none of it.
Well,
Like,
you know-
oh, he'll never do that.
To be fair, part of it with Andy was all of them actually. Andy will humor the shit out of me because she's like a very open, creative person. She wants. I mean, her first question is, "What's the part for me?"
Yeah.
But after that, she's like, "Jenny, listen, maybe because." She knew that she would, or thought she wouldn't have a role on this podcast. She actually does have quite a big role. She didn't listen,
few roles.
but she usually listens to me about creative
well,
shit.
what you and
Now
I,
about paying the bills, nothing.
of course not. You and I should work on that because it reminds me of. I've heard people say a lot that a good skill to have is the ability to make like a studio executive or whoever, some industry type person, make them think that your idea was actually their idea.
Whoa.
Do you know what I mean? Like kind of make them feel like they came up
That's
with it
like a
somehow,
thing?
whatever. Yeah. Oh, dude, I hear people say that all the time. Like, if you can somehow give them the impression
that they made it.
that this was their idea. Basically, like, they give you some note, and then you have an awesome idea totally separate from that, but then you, like, tie it. It's like,
Yeah.
you had this note, and basically what you were saying with that is what we
Yeah.
should do.
Okay.
And they're like, that is what I was saying.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
exactly right. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you can do that, it's very likely to, make you be able to get your shit through there because they're going to be like, oh, that's brilliant because I came up with it.
Right.
That makes total sense.
Instead of flipping out about it, being like, no, goddamn it, it's my idea. You don't do shit here.
Yeah.
Which would be my inclination.
That makes
Right,
total
right.
sense, and I realize this isn't what you're doing, but this is one of those. This is a perfect example of one of those where it's like, so you're saying if you're good at manipulating people, you'll be successful.
In show business, yes.
You don't
Yes, I
say.
am. And I'm not good at it, which is a problem.
You're too endearing. I don't think that that's true though. You're great at manipulating Corey.
But, buddy, come on. That's Pee-wee
And by the way,
manipulation there,
by the way,
dog.
a big part of his
you
ability.
got some cookies? You can manipulate Corey.
A big part of his ability to manipulate people is pretending that he's bad at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a long con.
Yeah.
It's a long
LC.
con.
He
knows.
named me Long Con.
As part of my own long
As
con.
part of his own Long Con. That's what he did.
Oh, man.
Well, anyway, listen to our podcast.
Yeah.
Say that.
Hey,
Oh, one more
go
thing.
ahead.
I think this is interesting too. We can discuss this more broadly. One surprising to me form of feedback, but now that I'm thinking about it, it shouldn't be surprising. We've had a lot of people. He was talking about them saying they were crying. We've had a lot of people essentially be like, "Fuck, I loved it, but it got my anxiety up, and I had to take a break, and this and that." And for me, when I hear other people discuss their issues, it's not a trigger for me because it's like, oh, I feel less alone, kind of. But there's a lot of people who don't operate
I'm one of
that
those
way.
other types of people, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well-
like, I don't know. Sometimes I wish I wasn't that way. Honest, this actually kind of just happened last night because I was watching. There's a new season of BoJack out, right? And I fucking
I ain't
love
started it yet.
that cartoon. I'm only 2 episodes in, but the second episode was really hard for me to watch because it was like not without spoiling anything. Princess Carolyn has she has a baby now. She's a single mom, and she's also still this big Hollywood hotshot agent. So the kid's with a nanny all day and whatever, and then the whole episode is about how there's literally no way in hell, seemingly, that Princess Carolyn is going to be able to
Be a good mom and be a success.
remain successful or
Yep.
whatever.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
not a mom, but I have children and I'm whatever, and I'm on the road a lot.
You're not
whatever else.
single.
And I was
That's a
thinking
huge part of it.
that's the main part of it. And I kept thinking that the whole time I was watching, I was like, God, thank God that I
Yeah.
have Katie and she's on board with all of this. Because if
Yeah.
I didn't, this would be almost impossible. People said along before I ever popped or whatever, it's like, if you didn't have a wife and kids, you'd be on your way. And I would always be like, yeah, I'm still going to do all that. But because the conventional wisdom is if you have kids, you can't really be a comedian for the most part. And the thing is, I am like living proof that that's not true, but also not really, because that you have to if you don't have a partner who's fully on board with it, then I mean, no, you can't really do it. And so it's different. I'm lucky in that way, or else I wouldn't be able to do it. Anyway, I got through that episode, but it was very hard for me because like it was hitting so close to home throughout the whole thing, and it was just as good as every BoJack episode, but it was just making me. I didn't
anxious.
anxious. So I didn't like it.
I totally get that. I guess for me, the way I consume stuff like that, and maybe this is why I'm drawn to darker things, putting myself in your shoes because I don't have kids, I would have watched that episode and been like, oh, my takeaway here is this cartoon just made me more grateful for my wife or feel gratefulness for my wife in this moment, and therefore I liked it, which is ironic because I usually focus on the anxiety or the negative. That's sort of my personality. But the reason I think I'm drawn to dark versions of art is it gives me a moment to, I guess, feel less alone. Other people's dealing with dark shit. And then sometimes it's cathartic. Like, that episode would have been cathartic for me.
And I didn't like the ultimate takeaway that the episode ended on. Like, I kind of fundamentally disagree with it. That's also a part of it for me. Yeah. But I'm not going to get into the details of that. But
So going back to our deal, like, you know, I don't want people to feel terrible when they listen to it. I was hoping that it would make I'm still hoping that it makes people, when we do those personal issues, it makes people feel. I mean, the second episode's about suicide. It comes out tomorrow, and it's a fucking doozy. But then the third episode is Corey's, and it's a little more lighthearted. And then eventually we're going to do less personal shit. Like, we're going to have Mark on and talk about military coups. Yeah. We're going to talk about broad, dark shit.
Had a very wonderful conversation with that gentleman the other night.
Yeah, DJ and Mark hit for each other. Big surprise.
Never would have thought that.
So we are. So if you are listening and it is kind of making you feel that way, don't worry. We're going to get into stuff that's not about you. I hope military coups, pedophile rings, you know, shit like that. But yeah, I guess it's not that I didn't expect that. It's just, I don't know, man. I process things differently. And I think it's 50-50. We've heard feedback from other people who are very into the dark shit because it's cathartic for them.
Well, I feel like the people, it's just going to be like, you're going to have the people who, you know, are the first type who just can appreciate that it's good but just can't handle it. And they're probably not going to fuck with y'all. But the people that are the other way, I mean, are going to like really, really, really dig it a lot.
Really, yeah.
So
that's what it seems
that's how
like
that type of shit usually goes. You know, I mean, hell, God, that's like we're that way, just in general.
Well, especially with the humor. I mean, that's something that I want everyone who hasn't given it a shot yet to understand. It's really fucking funny, just in spurts. Yeah, you know, like it's like a fucking gnarly 12, 15-minute conversation, and then the most ridiculous shit. Dumb, so dumb.
But so God, I think we've really, people are going to enjoy it, I think.
People already are.
And especially the more that, like, there's an outstanding joke there beyond anything, which is just, you know, just the whole Hollerville, the
world that we built. You'll figure it out.
I don't want to. Yeah.
Well, moving beyond that, I've talked to you, Trey, about a bit I wanted to write. This is like the broader version of what we were just discussing. You know, people are talking about, they're being like super open about depression and stuff like that.
Yeah.
On Twitter, on Instagram. And one night I was just kind of drunk or whatever, and I'm scrolling and I saw a bunch of jokes about it, and I was like, is this helping? I realized we got to get rid of the stigma. Like, we talk about it openly on Facebook, we talk about it openly on Twitter because we got to get rid of the stigma.
Right.
But
which is pretty much my main thing with it.
And we do need to do that.
Which is why I fall on the positive side of it for the most part, is just because
I agree.
It needs to be fucking talked about.
I agree. I just started a whole fucking podcast with that belief.
Right.
But there was a part of me in that moment that was like, I'm scrolling at night and I feel sad and alone. You post it, you're sad and alone. I don't feel less sad and alone. Now I just feel shitty and know that you also feel shitty.
I feel like I hear that, but I feel like because I feel like it's all that is almost a natural response to how social media was like for a long time when it first came out the gate. Meaning, if you're at home at night, sad and alone, and you're looking at social media, first of all, bad move in the first place. But if you're looking at social media and you're seeing all these posts from people you know, and it's all them on a fucking beach or at a fancy restaurant or on vacation or whatever, which just like their highlight reel basically, which is what social media is for a lot of people. You look at that, I feel like that's going to make you feel. That's not going to uplift you. It's going to make you feel worse about your situation, probably. But if in doing that you come across some other people, it probably depends on how you feel about those people. Those friends. If it's like your friends, you're like, God, oh, am I that guy now? Oh, no. I don't want to be like that guy. But if it's not that, you see some other people posting about how, like, they're knee deep in a pint of ice cream at 2 a.m. or whatever. I think that it probably will make you feel better as compared to the rest.
I guess I just kind of miss fake Facebook where everyone pretends like they're crushing. Sometimes I miss that because I'm like, if you're my friend and you show me the best version of your day, I'm like, hell yeah, man, DJ's killing it. And then if you're not my friend, now I can hate you, and I want that in my life. You know what I mean? Like, this piece of shit. Look, it's just so easy for some of these people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That person that I don't like gets on there and is like, I'm sad, I'm eating ice cream. I'm like, fuck. Now I got to feel sorry for this person and empathize with them and have a connection. And I
feel like it's not just people like that who are doing that sort of thing anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like people that seem to otherwise hit are joking and talking openly about like fucking depression and all that type
Gary
of shit.
Goldman.
If you see people like that talking about it, I think that probably does, generally speaking, help.
Did y'all see that?
I think you're right.
Depression?
Yeah.
I got real high and had to leave that room. Yeah, it was me, you, and Corey were together, and I got way higher than I meant to, and like I got halfway through it, and I was like, I can't. I got to tap out on this.
Yeah,
I was taken very off guard by
loved
that.
it.
Really?
Yeah, well, dude, like,
I mean, it's dark.
We're getting a little. I feel like a lot of our fans may not necessarily know at all what we're talking about. Gary Goldman's an awesome stand-up comedian who is mostly, to this point, been known for, like
goofy one-liners.
Observational type
of humor,
and he's awesome.
He did a whole 5 minutes on grapefruits on Conan one time.
Right, that type of shit. And he rules at it. He's phenomenal. But he just put a special out, and I didn't know this going into it. Maybe you and Corey did. I didn't fucking know going into it that this whole special was about, like, the void, basically, fucking depression, all this shit, and just darkness. And I wasn't ready for it, and I was too high for it. Yeah, and I had to bounce. Him and Corey finished it.
Yeah, I loved it. I think it was super interesting. It was borderline a one-man show, but he's so great at one-liners that it wasn't a one-man show. And then where he spliced it up with moments for his life, some of that stuff made me really uncomfortable, but I was glad he did it. Yeah, like I was really uncomfortable watching him and his fiance, partner, whatever, talk to the therapist, and then her and the therapist are talking as if he's not in the room, and then like I'm just watching all that. That shit made me super uncomfortable. I would never do that, but I was kind of glad he did.
No, I enjoyed it. But I think I also think it was really great. Just when we're talking about like being able to dissect, feel empathy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it creates empathy. You know what I mean? And like I think a lot of that is I think that's one of the good parts about being able to share it on social media like that and be like, because like even if you're not in it, now you can maybe understand, and especially with like humor and be able to laugh at it. That's great. But Facebook is wonderful for me, just for the red. That's where I soak up all the red.
Yeah,
like that's
of course.
That's where you don't get that. You don't get that good Twitter where like you don't get that on Twitter where you get a picture of like somebody's mama holding a snake outside and there's like a fucking kid. Like,
because I don't know about you, but I feel like for most people, and I know it's true for me, Facebook was kind of the first big one after MySpace, and for almost everybody, Facebook, at least at the beginning, these are people you actually know. So people like you grew up with, or people from where you're from, and all that. They're not necessarily actual friends, but like you know them, and they're around. They're like a snapshot of your world as a person. Yeah. And then however your Facebook grows and that changes is one thing. But like Twitter, though, I think is different. People get on Twitter and they follow like things that interest them. So either, the beat reporter for their favorite sports team or their favorite director, actor, comedian, or musician, whatever, that type of thing. It's not so much about people you actually know for most people. So you're not going to see all that wild neighborhood mammal snake shit you're talking about on Twitter.
Yeah, I think,
and that's what I'm there for.
One of the most like not thought out, insignificant decisions I've made in my life ended up really fucking with exactly what y'all are talking about. When I was a lawyer, I made a separate Facebook page for my comedy because like I was like weird about it, and I was just starting out, and I had this professional life and blah blah blah. eventually I got rid of the old Facebook and just started using the new comedian one and made that my regular one. I was like, fuck it, I can just be who I am. That had I didn't think about this effect of kind of getting rid of a lot of those people.
Yeah.
And then some of them came back into my life, refriended me, I refriended them, but a lot of them didn't because at that point they had become who they had become and I become who I become, and those were very different people. They weren't interested in my fucking whatever socialist bullshit. And at the time, when I was first doing it, and I was like, I don't give a shit about their mammal snakes. And now I miss their mammal snakes.
Well, also, this might be hyperbolic, but I think there's a case to be made that if I hadn't had those people on my Facebook at the time, we wouldn't be sitting here right now because I've told the story a million times, that viral video I saw of the feet fart? Or are you laughing at
It's
me
feet fart.
smelling my own farts?
It's feet fart.
Okay.
It's me, though.
That viral video from that preacher in North Carolina talking about transgender bathrooms, but just being a asshole fire and brimstone preacher about it.
Just standing by his truck.
Yeah,
and just,
that made me like that
Just
was like
snap,
the light
yeah.
bulb thing. I would not have seen that because I saw it because it was getting shared by the types of people we're talking about, like people
Right.
I went to high school with, who I now don't have shit in common with politically or anything.
Yeah.
They were the ones sharing that because they were like, hell yeah, this guy's telling it like it is. And I probably never would have even saw that if I,
You weren't in the bubble.
Hadn't-
That's
yeah,
why it's-
right, exactly.
See, that's why it's good to not
Man,
be in
yeah,
the bubble.
right,
And then
exactly.
you can have a
the
podcast.
deeper you go into the bubble, the more beautiful, for me at least. Like, I like to go to like Facebook Marketplace, like from my hometown and stuff, like in Walker County, see what I was selling. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Motherfucker out here with like a fucking can of blue paint for like, it's like a wish. It's like the wish app for the holler. You don't ever know what's gonna be popping up. It's like motherfucker try to sell a can of blue paint and then damn.
I tell you what, I don't do it, but I know Katie does, and I can't think of a single example right now, unfortunately. But like that, but for like out here
Oh, yeah.
is also pretty fucking funny.
I bet
You know what I
it
mean?
is.
Oh,
I
you-
bet it is.
You
I never
have,
even
you
thought
have
about
no
that. Yeah,
idea
yeah.
how many times Andy's just showed me a picture of a weird chair.
Right.
Don't we need this?
Yeah.
No, we don't need that.
Andy wouldn't let me write fart on the furniture.
No. I'm sorry.
Believe
baby,
it
that
or
don't
not,
hit.
we were
They were
decorating.
they got high and they were decorating out in our yard. They put up a pinata with a bunch of lights and a bunch of other shit. Andy has this pot holder and it's got 4 legs and the legs come up and you put the pot down in it. It's like a flower pot holder. I've said pot holder like it's in the kitchen. And DJ wanted to write fart on each of the legs and was like furious.
F-A-R-T.
Yeah, right.
I had to come outside to see what they were talking about. Because I was in there working on the stuff we had to do yesterday, and I could just hear him telling her for an hour how good the Dukes of Hazzard was.
Yeah.
Like, for an hour. He would be like, and man, and Mark's what got him on it.
Yeah,
Mark
No
taught
way.
DJ something he didn't know about Dukes of Hazzard, the Corey and Vance season.
Right.
Because it's not on any box sets
Yeah,
anymore.
well, yeah, why would it be?
Did
If
you know
anybody
that?
don't know-
The Corey and Vance?
Yeah.
The,
I mean, I don't like. Yes, I know that happened and was a thing and was terrible.
All right,
Damn,
so
I
for
know
anybody who
that
don't
makes
know, one year, the actors who played Bo and Luke, Tom Wopat and
Don't know.
the other guy,
Should, but I don't.
he's more successful than Tom Wopat.
I
Wopat's
just
a name.
always just knew him
I
as.
maybe can't remember
Bo
his
and
name
Luke.
again.
Well, like I would,
Anyway.
I only ever watched that as a kid. They were just Bo and Luke. I
Yeah.
hadn't got
Yeah,
into
oh,
like
yeah, yeah,
knowing
yeah,
actors.
yeah.
They
names
essentially
yet.
went on strike. They were like, "You got to pay us more," and the studio was like, "We can replace you." And they called their bluff. So they had a Corey and Vance season.
Right.
Everyone hated it.
Yeah.
So they got paid. TJ started telling Andy about that as if she weren't there when Mark was telling us about it.
no, I was talking about. I was just expressing my.
And then, Trey, I'm not kidding, at least 45 minutes, like I would be typing and then I would kind of pop back in and I'd hear him being like, and if you think about it, you remember that time when Boss Hogg stole from the nursing
The
home?
nursing home, dude.
That's
yeah.
a commentary, Andy.
Yeah.
And Andy's just happy that somebody's, paying attention to her.
Yeah.
So she's just like, yeah, cool, as she decorates. And then, though, after 45 or so minutes, I hear them arguing because he is insistent that he write fart on this furniture.
Uh-huh.
It would have been great.
Didn't win that one, huh?
Did not at all.
Can't
She
win
didn't
'em
see
all,
your
buddy.
artistic vision, man.
Nah.
And now you know how I felt. You're
Have
gonna
you
come
watched-
back in a
have
year.
you watched Dukes of Hazzard in a minute?
No, not. I mean, I used to watch it all the goddamn time at Mama Cat's house
Right.
as a kid. But
Do you remember
I
when they got
haven't-
that
I haven't
leprechaun?
watched it. I mean, dude, in years, man.
Man.
Like as an adult
Yeah.
at all.
I've
Like
been-
probably last time I saw an episode, actually watched an episode of Dukes of Hazzard, maybe high school. probably. And then I watched that fucking reboot movie that came out when
With Johnny
when I
Knoxville?
was in college. Yeah.
The premiere of that was in Knoxville.
Mm-hmm.
Jessica Simpson was
Didn't
there.
really hit for me.
No,
Yeah.
the movie
No.
didn't either. But I like Johnny Knoxville though. He
Well,
is to
sure,
me,
sure.
and I appreciate.
Well, didn't Jay Kandahar, who wrote Super Troopers, write that?
I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure. I know he directed it, and I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
he wrote it. And
Anyway,
if I'm honest, I like him, but they ought to let a Southerner do that.
yeah,
Kandahar didn't grow up with the Dukes of Hazzard.
right. DJ,
Yeah, buddy.
hell, both of y'all really, but I don't know if we've ever talked about this, and I think that's kind of odd. Tell me about Halloween.
Well, what you want to know about it exactly? About how we rock and roll on a
Yeah,
Halloween?
What does Halloween mean to you, DJ?
Man, I'm gonna tell you, man, and this is probably just from being in prison and stuff. Like, I do not have any connection to holidays.
Any of them at all?
Like, well, now I do because of Christmas, because I got my nephews are close to me,
Mhm.
and my niece and nephew. And
When you're
that-
in prison, is any given holiday just another day, like every other day?
Ju-
They don't acknowledge it
you
at
get
all.
like
you
a-
don't get a shittier meal that's like.
You get
You know what I
you get
mean?
more of a
Like-
shittier meal,
Right,
and then when
yeah.
I was in Jimmy Autry down in Pelham, Georgia, goddamn, I used to write plays for the mental health people out there. Warden Wendy Thompson would let me go, and because those people had it, it's really depressing, really sad, and they didn't have any family. Like you could send like a Christmas package in, so like your folks can send like a certain amount of extra cookies
Right.
and goddamn
Yeah,
shampoo and shit like that. And but you never saw it in a mental health dorm, so I would go in there. And we would write plays and have like a little production for the warden and them, and they would give them a pizza party. But that was later on in my career
Career.
My
My
career,
career's
as
my
a
career
playwright,
convict.
as a convict playwright.
But it was like a little talent show thing like that, so that was special. But it wasn't like family. It wasn't like anything like that. So before I say what I'm about to say, it's not because of some Ebenezer Scrooge shit. It's just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just that.
No, that makes sense.
So with Halloween, man, kids are cool. They like candy.
Mm-hmm.
People, human beings like to dress up. Dressing up is cool. We do that a lot at the house all the time. Being crafty and creative is wonderful. Having a good time is knock that out of the park. But if it weren't like what it is, I don't know that I would miss it. I'll just eat candy. I mean, because you know what I mean.
I just want
You can go to DJ's house in July, and him and Dre will be making a mask that they're
It's
going
a
to wear
skull of a goat
ritualistically.
with a
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yes, that's true. So I guess that does kind of make sense. But for that same reason is why I thought that you might be like. I wouldn't have been surprised if you were like super fucking into it,
Yeah.
or if you were like, oh, it's all commercialized bullshit, man. The true
Right.
spirit of Halloween, buddy. Let me tell you,
Sam Hines is what we're talking about. Yeah.
Like the
Right,
joke.
Like either one of those wouldn't have
The
surprised
St.
me.
Patrick's Day joke, drunks hate St. Patrick's Day because that's when the amateurs pretend to be drunks.
Yeah.
Like, you got that attitude about
Right,
Halloween.
exactly.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
you're
Exactly.
going to cause mayhem in a mask.
No. I mean, I feel like about holidays and stuff like that. No holiday do I have a personal connection to where like whatever kind of opinion I have on it is really anything other than like, yeah, man, if you're enjoying it, fine.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had, I was a fat kid, so Halloween hit for candy reasons. But as soon as I stopped trick-or-treating, though, from that moment up until I had my own children, I could not have given a fuck less about Halloween. Matter of fact, I was mostly annoyed by it.
I mean,
Like, I always thought it was mostly stupid, frankly. Like, I've never liked horror movies or any of that shit either, though. I just like spooky stuff.
Wait.
I know. That's why I'm saying I thought we might be different on this as far as, but like, I've just never been into that whole like aesthetic. And I never really gave much of a fuck about it. I liked, when I was in my early 20s, I liked the slutty outfits and all that.
All right.
Of course I did.
But you like horror stories.
Yeah, I love Stephen. I love Stephen King. I like to read them. I feel like okay, hold on. That's a tangent. but we will get into
Yeah.
it. But anyway, then I had kids and with their little precious costumes and trick or treating. And also, we live in a neighborhood where we get at least some trick or treaters. Katie loves Halloween.
Andy loves it.
She decorates our house. All these little precious little kids come up dressed as fucking know sprites and goblins and stuff. And so now I very much enjoy it. Like it's not like one of my favorites, but I have fun.
Kids
on
make
Halloween.
things hit.
Kids do make things hit, dude. Christmas don't. Now I've always liked Christmas, but dude, Christmas with kids, oh my god,
Yeah, I can't wait.
Unbelievable.
I cannot wait.
But anyway,
Well, me and Andy Andy and I went to West Hollywood the other night for their Halloween carnival, and it was a street party, and we dressed up like Willie Nelson and Dolly Parton, and we had fun. Annie loves to dress up. She loves Halloween. It's her second favorite holiday, I think, maybe her third. Annie loves holidays. Annie just loves a lot of things, and dressing up is one of them. I dig it, but something that happened, somebody there had like a Jason mask on, and they were like walking around, and they would just like walk up to you and stare and not move or say anything.
but that's some Halloween shit.
Exactly. But I've never gotten that. I've never particularly cared for it. I've always thought, especially when adults do that, I've always thought that is so stupid and immature. Like, what joy are you getting by like doing that to me? But this is what I said to Andy when we were talking about it that night when it happened. But I love immature shit too, just a different type of immature shit. Like a good dick joke just gets me down to my core. And I know it's immature, and if someone goes, "You're immature to laugh at that," I have to acknowledge you are objectively correct. Yeah. So it's not like fuck them and their immaturity. It's just something that to me is one of the most immature things. Like jumping out at somebody and all that. Like it's fun to laugh at a person if you scare them, but just generally speaking, I just don't dig that shit. But Halloween now has become so much more than that. I love to dress up like, as an example, Willie Nelson and get fucked up.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that was always like, I always liked the getting fucked up part of it.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
But every year pretty much, all those years in between where I didn't really care about it, I would go to fucking Goodwill and build some kind of bullshit costume day of.
I love doing that though.
Pretty much every year. But I was doing it because I just didn't give a fuck. But it was like, I got a Halloween party tonight, I need fucking something, so I go and throw some bullshit together. Like I never was like all that into it. Katie used to fucking win costume contests and stuff. Like when we first started dating, like she's always loved it. But like,
Andy gets furious if we go to one and there's a contest and we don't play. She gets furious.
But like, I made this whole video about how like Katie's into it and I'm not, so it's fine. But like,
I've seen that mess.
Right, I'm often like her like sidekick or accessory or something to her costume. But again, like I said, I never really cared that much about it, so it's fine. But it is kind of funny. But that the dudes with the dudes being spooky, like even as somebody never really gave much of a fuck about Halloween, I've always, anytime I've ever seen something like that, I've always just thought like, yeah, well,
that's what it is.
You'll have that.
Yeah.
Like for a lot of people,
I'm not mad
for a
at
lot
it.
of people, that's what fucking Halloween is.
I'm not
fucking
mad at
spooky time.
But why aren't you at a haunted house? Like
Exactly.
why
Well,
in the
they
middle of the
probably
street?
also
Well,
are at
the
a
other thing I
haunted
think
house.
about that is, I'm
Well,
like,
you're right.
no, that's for kids though. But I realize how stupid that is.
Haunted houses?
And
Nah,
people
bruh.
scaring people.
Haunted houses.
No, hear me out. I'm wrong. Like I'm saying that I'm wrong, but my initial thought when a grown person does that to me at the street carnival festival, another grown person, I'm like, why are you acting 13? And then I'm like, Drew, look in a mirror. You're dressed like a fucking country music icon and smoking weed. You're 35 and you had to find a wig today. Like, let them have their fun. It's just a different kind.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
that is
obviously, it
absolutely
depends
true.
on how fucking far they take that
Take
shit.
it, right?
too.
Yeah.
I'm saying
yeah.
if you want to do the spooky version of Halloween, I'm totally on board with that. But yeah, if you're like straight up fucking harassing people that don't want nothing to do with
if you touch me, Willie Nelson will
then
whip your
fuck-
ass.
then fuck that.
Yeah.
But
Yo, I think this microphone stinks.
you've been feet farting on it.
Yeah,
somehow.
I mean, yeah.
Or you-
No, I think that's where I thought the feet farts was coming from.
Yeah.
That's so
You've been
gross.
smelling farts all morning.
So look,
I know it.
Horror
I've
movies.
been with you all morning.
Horror movies, right? My dad owned a video store. He's the reason I'm into all this shit in the first place. He loved all kinds of stuff, artsy shit, foreign movies, David Lynch, all the
Oh,
that was weird.
baby.
Dude, David Lynch was his
Dude,
He
man,
loved-
dude.
Tell him the
Wild
story.
at Heart is fucking one of the ultimate. I love it. I
So,
live by that movie.
When we put that out, didn't we? We just put it out on our podcast, right, Drew?
What? That story?
The, like pilot episode of Into the Abyss.
Yeah, it's out. And
Right.
we put it out
We
on ours.
put it out on ours. So y'all have heard it if you listen to that. we talked about my dad.
I'm sorry. You're talking about it's very different now. But you're talking about when I interviewed you about your dad.
Right.
Yeah,
Which we called that.
Yeah.
And
I forgot we called that the pilot.
Yeah.
It's very different now.
Right. Okay.
But I'm going to use
I
that
just
in
wanted
another
to make
episode.
sure that we had put it out and I wasn't wrong, so people have some
people have heard
context.
me interview about your father.
Yeah. So I talked about it on there, but basically, he was super in all that shit. And I think with David Lynch, what happened was he just he tried to get me into David Lynch like way too early.
Oh yeah.
And I just remember being like, "What the fuck?" Are you and he kind of never stopped doing that. Like even when I was in high school, he showed me fucking. You ever seen?
Drive?
No, John Waters, Pink Flamingos.
Yes, I have.
And
Yes,
it's like
I
he
have.
showed me that shit, and he's just like looking there watching me watch it, just like, what do you say about that? Hey, what do you say about that, boy?
Yeah.
Ain't that wild?
Yeah.
How wild is that shit, son? God damn.
Yeah.
Like just like that. But you gotta think how like teenagers and fucking tweens and all that, how they brains work with that type of shit. I mostly thought all that was just like, what the. Oh yeah, what? Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is this?
No.
It's
Why are we doing?
talking asshole.
Yeah, right. Like, why
Okay.
are we? So, like, I never at all connected with it, like, because of the context of it. But
Right.
my dad loved it. I've actually been thinking lately, because I've been reading shit about David Lynch on the internet and stuff, that I need to go back and revisit it all as an adult.
should,
I think I would have a newfound appreciation for it.
Do you really think
But-
that? And I'm being sincere.
No,
and by
I
the
mean,
way,
maybe.
Do you
By the way,
remember-
what I'm
do you
about to
remember
say.
Wild at Heart? Do you
I don't
remember
know.
Wild
Hold
at
on.
Heart
Uh,
with Nicolas Cage and Laura Dern?
what is the
Is that the
general
Chris
story?
Isaac song in the middle of it?
Right.
Basically, Sailor and Lula go on, which is Nicolas Cage and Laura Dern. Basically, he skips out on parole. He's taking her from her like father. There's some assassins. Dude.
No,
I mean,
I guess you didn't show me
Wild
that
at
one in
Heart,
particular,
dog.
yeah.
I cannot. Dude, I cannot. If you revisit, start with that bad son of a
All
bitch.
Okay.
I like David Lynch, okay, but he's one of those to me, and I'm not like saying that you're doing this, Trey, but I've done this, and maybe you're doing this. I've done this before, where a lot of people who I am into and respect are into something. I think I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, right.
You know,
yeah.
it's like,
Oh,
I'm smart and weird,
I absolutely do that. Yeah.
but like. I like some David Lynch, and some of it I'm just like, I don't
Dude,
understand
I-
what the fuck is happening. Jonathan Waters, same thing.
I think Wild at Heart will hit for you in a way that God, dude, there's so many people in it. I can't even. I really hope you get to that.
I'll
soon.
watch it.
Yeah.
But
Sorry.
so he also was a huge horror movie buff,
Mhm.
right? And he loved to read he loved he turned me on Stephen King and all that shit too. But he loved horror movies, and that was another one that but to this day though, I personally just feel like 95% or more even of horror movies are just fucking dumb as fuck.
You're
like,
right.
for the most part. Now, here's the thing. Anytime I ever see a horror movie that I think is actually genuinely good and effective and everything, I fucking eat that shit up. I love it.
Yeah.
I just feel like I very rarely ever see that, like, for the most part. I feel like they're mostly very tropey, cookie cutter, same type of shit. That jump scare stuff is just bullshit, in my opinion.
It is.
Like, and a lot of times they don't make any goddamn sense.
Right.
All that classic shit
Yup.
that Scream was making fun of, the
Yup,
way
yup.
people act in horror
Yup,
movies.
yup.
That ain't changed for a lot of them. They still do a lot of the same shit, and like I just watch all that, and I don't get fun and enjoyment out of it. I'm sitting there just like annoyed the whole time.
It's-
Like the fuck.
it's
What
one
is
of the-
what are you doing? What is happening right now? What is
It's
this
one
shit?
of those things that like you have to like be into it and enjoy the shittiness.
right? And I
of it.
just don't
Right.
when it comes to horror
right. You have to
movies
know
at
that
all.
the tropes, and you have to like, and knowing the history of it. Also, like knowing like the dude who produced and made most of the Halloweens, not John Carpenter. His name was Mustafa Akkad, I think he was actually ended up getting it.
the horror guy's name is Mustafa.
Yeah, he was actually a really known in over yonder in the Middle East for making like trying to like make these like movies about Islam and stuff and to create like a more of an understanding of it and stuff and like he ended up getting blowed up. Yeah.
That'll happen
That's
to
how
you.
that goes. Yeah, you'll
But,
have
like,
that.
It's so weird to see him like it's so weird to know that he was out here doing that and then like but anyway that was very interesting to me to find that out. I don't know where I was going with that because then another thought popped in my head. Where was I? Oh, you have to know about the tropes. You have to understanding like some of the like the history of it's interesting. Knowing that like Halloween 5, I think it was actually made by a Swedish director who like it's the most garbage movie that's ever been made ever. It's so terrible. But like he came in to like direct the movie and he was like telling him apparently he watched like the whole slasher film like Nightmare on Elm Street, all this, and then he was talking to the producers and like threw away the script that they had and said this does not, stand true to horror movies and all this other mess, and then just came out with like the biggest piece of shit style, and it's interesting to know that. Anyways,
I dig the like. I really dig all the old like practical effects type shit.
That too.
I really like all that like in a vacuum,
not
like
CGI, but like seeing like monsters.
Yeah. Like I listened to Rick Baker, who's like the king of that on Mark Maron recently, and it's one of my favorite episodes in years. But like, I'm very fascinated by all that shit. John Carpenter's The Thing, one of my all-time favorite movies. Fucking love that movie.
It's amazing.
So like, when a horror movie hits for me, it hits really hard. I just find that they, more than any other genre of movie, for me in particular, have far and away the lowest batting average. Like, I mostly don't like them.
It's mostly the same for me in terms of the batting average, but it's weird because I feel very differently than you. Here's when I like them. When they nail the camp, like Night of the Living Dead 2, I think that movie is so fucking hilarious and sometimes scary with some of the jump scares and all that. And it's like borderlines on parody, though, right?
No, is the one with Michael Jackson comes out after he's getting like...
It's the one with Bruce...
Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
You're talking about Evil Dead.
Yeah,
Evil
right.
Dead.
I
Evil
love
Dead
Evil
too.
Dead.
Yeah,
Hold on.
Evil Dead's a different...
I feel like that's kind of a different... Yeah, a little
Fair
bit
enough, because it's like borderlines on parody.
How amazing
By the
is
third
Sam
one,
Raimi?
it's straight up
All
parody.
right.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I really...
Army of Darkness.
Right. I really like...
I love those movies.
Stephen King movies that are done like by a director who wants to focus more on the sort of
Kubrick.
themes instead of just the yes.
The Shining.
The
is
Shining.
Shining's
What's
one of my
that?
all-time
What's that
favorite
one where
movies.
Johnny Depp
Rules.
keeps eating corn and goes crazy? He's got a Totoro in it.
It's
I loved it.
Secret Window or the
Yes, or The Window,
Yeah,
or
something
Secret
like- something
Window.
like that,
I
yeah.
loved it. I love shit like that. But I hate the ones you're talking about too, where it's just like jump scares. But then some of the other ones you're talking about, like Us, when it's really well done, I like
I didn't
it.
say Us for the record.
I thought it was really well done.
Fire.
I didn't
Get
want-
Out
I thought-
is...
Shit.
Whether it's good or not, here's what I
I
want
don't
to
really
say.
even want to talk about
when
Us, honestly,
somebody
'cause-
does a genuinely scary thing well, I actually fucking hate that. I am not here to be frightened. I don't know why people like that feeling. I didn't have to watch Us. As soon as you told me the name of it, I got it. Oh, the scariest thing in the world is me? You're exactly fucking right. And I don't want to look in that mirror. It's not what I'm trying to do right now.
Yeah.
Not on a fucking Saturday night. Set me down with a good book when I'm ready for it and I can go slow. Sure.
Yeah, no, I can also appreciate when they pull the camp off. If it's that type of horror movie,
Right.
That's what they're going for, and they pull that off. I love that. Like, you ever seen Cabin in the Woods? I love that movie.
It was great.
Yeah,
But would never watch it. I'm already scared.
it's
It's cabin, it's woods.
It's got a lot of the camp. There's
It's
a lot. It's like
insane.
it's crazy, but it's crazy in a way that makes sense. It takes almost every horror trope in the world and subverts almost all of them, like very,
very well.
very explicitly. And
Yeah.
then
There's a unicorn
and it's funny. It's
goring
funny.
motherfuckers in it.
Right, dude. People get
That
gored
sounds
by
hilarious.
unicorns. It is hilarious.
All right, I might watch that one.
Dude, that movie.
What about?
rules.
All right, I watched Blair Witch Project
Fuck that movie.
in a fever dream. Like I had a fever of 104, and I watched it with my girlfriend in high school, and it freaked me the fuck out.
I have still never seen that movie.
So it was this huge. That's like the very first ever viral marketing phenomenon.
Yeah.
Right? The first thing that the internet ever turned into like this whole thing. Right.
A product.
That's the first one that ever happened with, and the whole story at the time was like, this is all real. Like
We found this footage and we don't know what we do with it.
People. I think a lot of people saw it in theaters, still thinking that and believing that. And if you did, I can understand how it would have been very effective. I had already like read somewhere on the. I knew already before I ever saw it that wasn't true. That was all just part of the marketing and that was bullshit. And maybe that's why, I don't know. But even at that age, as a teenager or whatever, when that came out and I saw it in theaters, I was like, this is so boring and shitty. Like, I don't know. I didn't like it the first time I saw it, and I've
Freaked me out.
I always felt like that movie was just it was a cultural phenomenon in that it was the first thing to effectively execute the thing that it did, meaning a viral marketing thing.
Yeah.
And that's what made it a huge success. But the movie itself, for me, had like little to nothing.
What
to
about
offer,
The Ring?
When The Ring came out, I liked it and was freaked out by it.
It freaked me the fuck out. That was me as a grown up ish. I was like 19 probably when I saw it.
Yes.
Being like, oh, I don't like this.
Right.
When the first victim's face, remember their face was blurry? I'm getting chills right now.
Mm-hmm.
It rocked me to my core. I was like, oh God, like they took their they erased their humanity. And like I'm saying that to people who are watching the movie with me, and they're like, "What the fuck are you talking? It's just scary." And I'm like, "No. She took his soul. I'm freaked out. I can't do it. I just read too much into it. I guess I don't like it."
Yeah, none of those. What was that other mess that came out of Japan? There was like a whole
The Grudge.
slew.
The Ring started it.
Right.
The Ring was the first one. It was a huge success. So then they started just doing all of
Yeah,
them.
see, I ain't
every
never fucked with
Japanese
that
horror
of
movie.
I never-
And
I
The
fuck with
Grudge,
Japanese horror, but I
The
haven't. fucked with
Grudge
it.
was the next one, and it was also a success. But then they started, digging deeper into the barrel and pulling out some horse
Andy
shit.
and I
can't even
saw
remember
an
them now, but
independent-
there was a lot of them.
Andy and I went to an independent horror. You remember Dom?
Yeah.
Who helped us in Detroit?
Yeah.
He produced and I think directed an independent horror film that Andy and I watched the premiere of in Hollywood, and it was hilarious. And it was meant to be. It was campy, and it played it up like what you were talking about. There were these puppets, and they were controlled by this wizard, and the puppets were demonic, and they were so funny and crass and racist and horrible, and it was so fucking funny. But it was meant to be.
No, yeah, that's how.
I mean, a little stab with a little puppet.
Yeah. I'm with it. I like all that.
Speaking of freaky shit, but in the real world, I feel like this is maybe, I got this list of weird topics we're going to bust out every now and then. I hope DJ knows about this. It seems like the type of thing he might. The French dancing plague from like the Middle Ages, somewhere in there. Now, I don't know about Middle Ages, like, I don't know, 1500, something like that.
No.
The French dancing plague, you never heard about that?
No. Please.
Okay. So it was this thing where, like, back in the, the olden days, before the hits had been invented, and nothing hit and everything sucked and everybody hated everything. I mean, I guess some things don't change, but the dancing plague of 1518 was a case of dancing mania that occurred in Strasbourg, Alsace, modern-day France, in the Holy Roman Empire in July 1518. Around 500 people took to dancing for days without rest, and over the period of about 1 month, some of those affected collapsed or even died of heart attack, stroke, or exhaustion. The outbreak began in July 1518 when a woman, Frau Trophea, began to dance fervently in a street in Strasbourg. This lasted somewhere between 4 and 6 days. Within a week, 34 other people had joined, and within a month, there were 400 dancers, predominantly female. Some of these people died from heart attack, strokes, or exhaustion. One report indicates that for a period, the plague killed about 15 people a day. However, the sources of the city of Strasbourg at the time of the events did not mention the number of deaths. Historical documents, including physician notes, cathedral sermons, local and regional chronicles, and even notes issued by the city council, are clear that these victims danced. It is not known why they danced, some of them even to their deaths. As the dancing plague worsened, concerned nobles sought the advice of local physicians who ruled out astrological and supernatural causes.
Well, that was her first
Something like-
mistake.
yeah. It's like, no, this ain't no demon shit.
Isn't
no.
there a theory that it was a
Demons
parasite?
Demons ain't got moved.
Isn't there a parasite theory that?
Listen to what
Okay.
they landed on though. Like
Yeah.
they ruled out astrological and supernatural causes, instead announcing that the plague was a natural disease caused by hot blood.
Foreigner.
Got the fever,
It's
baby.
Foreigner.
It's got the
Hot
fever.
blooded.
No,
Check
no,
it
no,
and see.
yeah.
I've been telling you, Foreigner's one of the greatest rock bands.
They had,
Hot blooded.
God damn, dude. I
they
want
had
to
a
take,
dancing fever.
dude.
It wasn't a problem in the 70s. Why was it a problem then? They just didn't have discos yet.
They didn't know.
They did a
And this
disco
is
ball and some fucking subwoofers. They would have been fine.
God damn, this was documented.
It's a
Yeah.
parasite, right? Isn't that like the leading theory now?
First of all, yeah, there is. As far as I'm aware, there is no like definitive answer, but all right, theories. Modern theories include food poisoning caused by the toxic and psychoactive chemical products of ergo fungi.
Wait, that doesn't.
What,
For
days on mushrooms?
For
No, no,
5
no, no,
days?
that's a different. I'm right. I'm not. Ergo is not the same as psilocybin mushrooms.
No. It grows on wheat. It's
Right.
like
Yeah,
it's a wheat germ. That's what basically
Right.
what they thought that the
I
witches.
thought it was ergo, just
Which-
was Latin for because.
Right,
or
which
therefore.
grows commonly on grains in the wheat family,
Yeah.
such as rye, that was used for baking bread at the time.
Why'd they dance?
Ergotamine is the main psychoactive product in ergo. It's structurally related to the drug LSD, and it's the substance from which LSD was originally
That sound like psilocybin to me.
synthesized. The same fungus has also been implicated in other major historical anomalies, including the Salem witch trials.
Okay, but LSD don't kill you.
They don't
but-
make you dance
but-
for 5 days.
but
Neither.
dancing-
Oh, yeah,
Maybe,
shit,
maybe if you
it
took
does.
too much of
Maybe
it.
it
and
does.
you keep taking it because you don't know that you're even taking it. Or
But there's
whatever.
not even any music. No, like what? Dancing. Like, and they describe this as dancing.
Don't feel like dancing.
Another
dancing.
expert speculates the dancing was stress-induced psychosis on a mass level, since the region where the people danced was riddled with starvation and disease, and the inhabitants tended to be superstitious. 7 other cases of dancing plague were reported in the same region during the medieval era. This could have been a florid example of psychogenic movement disorder happening in mass hysteria or mass psychogenic illness, which involves many individuals suddenly exhibiting the same bizarre behavior at the same time. The behavior spreads rapidly.
What's
and
another
broadly.
example of that?
The sufferers are primarily adolescent females. according to this.
They're just talking about when
yeah.
Elvis came out. All
Yeah,
the
right.
girls
Yeah,
came
yeah.
out.
That was mass hysteria, baby. Yeah.
There was a Black
Right.
Plague Elvis coming
Yes.
through,
Yeah, right.
shaking his fucking
Some
leg.
bard
Yeah.
just kicking
Yeah.
ass.
Yeah, he
yeah,
stole all
right.
the music from the Moors, and these
Yeah.
white people couldn't handle it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's pretty much it.
Good God!
I thought I read something about a parasite
That's
that
so
makes
much.
animals dance before
I mean,
it kills them.
No, I know what you're thinking of, and that's
it makes them climb to the top of
Yeah.
trees.
then they die and a fungus grows out of their body and
Right.
the spores get off, and it's fucking wild. But no, that's thankfully that has never been known to make the jump to humans.
To the
Humans can be
dance?
affected-
What do you mean? Thankfully, it might rule.
No, well, not rule. Dude, watch the,
The
Oh,
bird
I've seen it,
shitting.
dude.
You seen the clips? I
With
watched
that
that. I
snail?
watched that hide. I was like, dude.
Bruh.
I was like, dude, that's a zombie movie.
Yeah.
That's a perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Turns out, maybe one of the biggest video games of the last 10 years, The
Yeah.
Last of Us. It
Is
is.
that?
It's literally just that.
Ain't
That's
28,
what that game
ain't
is
28
about.
days kind of that.
No, that's like a grown in a lab, like rage virus that the military was doing to make like super soldiers, whatever. But they fucked it up, and then people got it, and they're not.
I must be thinking of a different movie
they're not
because I know I didn't
zombies.
confuse
Do
that
zombies
with
hit
it.
for you?
They don't zombie. They're not zombie. They don't eat people or whatever. They're just mindless rage killing machines. So they're like
yes.
zombies, but they're not eating.
You know what we figured out
brains.
about vampires?
Yeah, zombies. Yeah, I mean, yes, I think there's a lot of fucking terrible zombie shit out there.
There is.
But I liked the good stuff. I
Wait a minute.
loved the first season of The Walking Dead.
Wait a minute.
so
Yeah, it
much
was
I kept
great.
watching it even when it stopped hitting
Yeah.
immediately.
What did Max
thereafter.
write?
Oh, fucking World War Z. Love that book. That book
Yeah.
rules.
Yeah, it does.
rules.
Yeah, it
The hell, I like the movie, even though it's nothing like the book whatsoever. But I thought it was entertaining. But no, I dig. I can dig zombies. I just think. I mean, I feel like they're done to fucking death at this point. Like,
Yeah.
let's
I like
give
looking
zombies
at
a break for a
zombies, like
while.
a cool
I've
zombie
been saying
to look
zombies
at. So
deserve a break.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vampires.
Mm,
They've got too many allergies,
mhm.
right? Like nothing. Like only like one thing kill. Two
Some
things kill.
bitch got a garlic allergy.
And
You
a
gotta go-
sunlight
yes,
allergy.
well, sunlight will kill it, but like the
Yeah,
look
a
at-
peanut allergy would kill a fucking
Yeah, you're
7-year-old.
right. I guess a stake in the heart's the only thing that's
Yeah,
like
well,
really kill them.
I also am allergic to those.
But yeah, I mean, like yeah. But the
Deathly
rest of it
allergic
is-
to steaks in the heart.
Yeah, but the rest of it's just
Holy
allergies.
water,
Holy water,
holy water,
don't
garlic.
kill them. It just fucking
In a lot of versions, they can get hit by sunlight and not immediately die.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, you ain't counting sunlight as an allergy they have.
I reckon. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I think
I
you
got
made
it.
a very good point. Yeah,
Sunlight,
yeah.
garlic, holy water.
I got an uncle who takes steaks
Mirrors?
straight to the heart.
Some of them
got
are
high
silver,
cholesterol.
right? Silver with some of them. I know
Cross-
that's
Silver
Crucifixes?
bullet. That's a
That's
werewolf.
but
Crucifixes?
Crucifixes, yes. They do have a lot of allergies. You're right.
I don't think silver is one of them.
Tell you what, they ain't allergic to dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay fucking boy.
Well, dick's got a lot of blood in it.
Ooh, they gay.
Yeah.
They hit harder
They
for me
smell
when they
good,
were
they
gay.
dress nice.
It is funny.
Like the Anne Rice, like when they came out and they were like not gay, but they were
They were
obviously
bisexual.
bisexual. Yeah,
They're
hypersexual. Yeah,
hypersexual.
yeah. Hit way
isn't that
more
kind
for
of
me.
wild, sort of, that's like a part of the vampire thing? I mean, I guess it's because like they're
Because they
they're
bite your
seductive.
neck.
They're seductive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They seduce you and
Right.
then bite you. But like, yeah, the like
Because
they're not-
seducing than a dick.
the super sexual part of vampires.
Well, it makes sense.
Has always been like,
Yeah.
Correct me if
Kinda
I'm
funny to
wrong.
me.
They don't have in classic versions superhuman strength.
I mean, they could turn into a bat.
But I mean, they can't just wrestle you to the ground and choke you out and then
It's more
drink
like a
your blood.
hypnotized. They like more
That's
like
what I'm
look
saying.
into your
They
eyes and
have
like,
to be
yeah, yeah,
sexual because that's how they get you to let that neck open.
right. Yeah.
And if you're alive, the blood's better. Everybody knows that. That's like sushi. You want it fresh.
Yeah, like if they drink it. Yeah, they can drink it.
They don't want to kill you and then
Oh,
drink your
no,
blood.
right.
They can, but they don't want to.
as maybe my favorite line from What We Do in the Shadows,
Yes.
that fucking
Oh,
vampire
it's so
documentary,
great.
where he's you were just talking about how it's better when it's fresh or whatever, and he was explaining like the document had asked him why do vampires love virgins so much. He's like, well, I guess I'd say, I don't know. Let's just say if you had a sandwich, you would probably just enjoy it better if it hadn't been fucked.
Dude, that show. Do you watch the show too?
I've started it. I just started it, and I mean, I dig it.
It's
but
fun.
I'm not far into it. Yeah, but
It's fun.
Well, we've hit an hour. We've got a couple more things to do. Let's wrap it up.
all right.
You'll
Well, I got nothing to say. You got anything you want to come see us at Zany's?
Fly Spirit Airlines.
Or don't.
Don't hit for you.
Tell him why.
It's like being on a rowdy bus in the sky. It was the best time.
You sound like
I've
this
had-
motherfucker. He told a similar story, and the story hit very hard. Don't get me wrong. He told a similar story about flying to Vegas on a Southwest plane.
It
and
hit so hard.
The story hit, but like
To live
the
it.
whole time when he was saying it, I was like, dude, fuck that.
You've got to
Okay,
understand, this is something that's beautiful about DJ, though. He lives his life as if he's in like a video game.
right.
So if
Yeah,
the
yeah.
story hits, he's hitting watching it. Like, I watch him
There was a guy with a harmonica. just playing the harmonica.
Right, which is most people being like, can you believe this son of a bitch is playing harmonica on my flight? And DJ's going,
I wasn't the
look
only
at
one
this
on my-
crazy
I wasn't
motherfucker.
the only one on my flight enjoying the harmonica. I mean, when they started passing out snacks, I was sitting by a stewardess who had, their flight had got canceled. They had to go somewhere, and like the dude kept on like passing like snacks to the woman that was sitting beside me, like on the free. You know what I'm saying? On the low, passing them off, and then she was sharing them with us. And like, dude, it hit for me so hard. Well, I guess nobody. I guess.
No, there's other people like you, I think. I've heard. I never met one in a while, but I've heard that. All right, fuck it. Yeah, come see. DJ's going to be at Zany's, turns out.
Into the Biscuit.
For part of it. Anyway, yeah, check out Into the Biscuit. I see you, love you. Skew.